Hey everybody, Father Zach here, coming to you from my office at our house, and want to submit to you today's installment of the Pass the Peace project from me. What I'd like to do is read an excerpt from a book that I just read. It's actually a cookbook. It's called The Supper of the Lamb. It's by Robert Capon, and my favorite chapter in the book is about how to cut an onion. Sounds crazy, I know, but just stick with me. I'm not going to tell you anything else. I hope that's intriguing enough. Here we go. Take one onion. I have in mind one of the medium-sized, common yellow onion. Take the best-looking one you have, a paring knife, and a cutting board, and sit down at your kitchen table. Do not attempt to stand at a counter through these opening measures. In fact, to do it justice, you should arrange to have 60 minutes or so free for this part of the exercise. Admittedly, spending an hour in the society of an onion may be something you have never done before. You feel perhaps a certain resistance to the project. Please don't. As I shall show later, a number of highly profitable members of our society have undertaken it before you. Onions are excellent company. Once you are seated, the first order of business is to address yourself to the onion at hand. You must firmly resist the temptation to feel silly. If necessary, close the doors so no one will see you. But do not give up out of embarrassment. You will note to begin with that the onion is a thing, a being, just as you are. Savor that for a moment. The two of you sit here in mutual confrontation. Together with knife, board, table, and chair, you are the constituents of a place, in the highest sense of the word. This is a session, a meeting, a society of things. You have, you see, already discovered something. The uniqueness, the placiness of places derives not from abstractions like the word location, but from confrontations like human versus onion. Erring theologians have strayed to their graves without learning what you have already come upon. They have insisted, for example, that heaven is no place in particular because it could not be defined in terms of spatial coordinates. They have written off man's eternal habitation as a, quote, state of mind. But look what your onion has done for you. It has given you back the possibility of heaven as a place, without encumbering you with the irrelevancy of location. This meeting between the two of you could be moved 1,000 different latitudes and longitudes and still remain the session that it started out to be. Indeed, by the motions of the earth, the solar system, the galaxy, and the universe, if that can be defined, every place, every meeting of matter becomes a kind of cosmic floating craps game. Location is accidental to its deepest meaning. What really matters is not where we are, but who, what real beings are with us. In that sense, heaven, where we see God face to face through the risen flesh of Jesus, may well be the placiest of all places, as it is the most gloriously material of all meetings. Here, perhaps, we do indeed see only through a glass darkly. We mistake one of the earthly husks of place for the heart of its mattering. But back to the onion itself. As nearly as possible now, try to look at it as if you have never seen an onion before. Try, in other words, to meet it on its own terms, not to dictate yours to it. You are convinced, of course, that you know what an onion is. You think perhaps that it is a brownish yellow vegetable, basically spherical in shape, composed of fundamentally similar layers. All such prejudices should be abandoned. It is what it is, and your work here is to find it out. For a start, therefore, notice that your onion has two ends. A lower, now marked only by the blackish gray spot from which the root filaments descended into the earth, and an upper, which terminates unless your onions are over the hill and have begun to sprout because you store them under a leaky sink trap. In a withered peak, that's the top, of onion paper. Note once again what you have discovered. An onion is not a sphere in repose. It is a linear thing, a bloom of vectors thrusting upward from base to tip. Stand your onion, therefore, root end down upon the board, and see it as the paradigm of life that it is, as one member of the vast, living, gravity-defying troop that across the face of the earth moves light and airward as long as the world lasts. Only now have you the perspective needed to enter the onion itself. Begin with the outermost layer of paper, or onion skin. Be careful. In the ordinary processes of cooking, the outer skin of a sound onion is removed by peeling away the immediately underlying layers of flesh with it. It is a legitimate shortcut. The working cook cannot afford the time it takes to loosen only the paper. Here, however, it is not time that matters, but the onion. Work gently, then, lifting the skin with the point of your knife so as not to cut or puncture the flesh beneath. It is harder than you may have thought. Old onion skins give up easily, but new ones can be stubborn. Look now at the fall of stripped and flaked skin before you. It is dry. It is, all things considered, one of the driest things in the world. Not dusty dry like potatoes, but smoothly and thinly dry, suggesting not accidental desiccation, not the withering due to age or external circumstance, but a fresh and essential dryness. Dryness as an achievement, not as a failure. Elegant dryness, deliberate dryness. More than that, onion paper is, like the onion itself, directional, vectored, ribbed. It will oddly split as easily across its striations as with them. Its grain has been reduced by dryness to a merely visual quality. Best of all, though, it is of two colors. The outside, a brownish yellow of no particular brightness, but the inside, a soft, burnished, coppery gold, ribbed especially near the upper end, with an exquisiteness only hinted at on the outside. Accordingly, when you have removed all the paper, turn the fragments inside up on the board. They are elegant company. For with their understated display of wealth, they bring you to one of the oldest and most secret things of the world, the sight of what no one but you has ever seen. It keeps going for several pages beyond that. That's The Supper of the Lamb by Robert Capon. I commend it to you. Hope you've enjoyed this installment of the Pass the Peace Project, and hope you'll help us by passing whatever peace you're experiencing along the way. Peace, friends.